Welcome back to another episode of Built from the Inside Out. Today we are here with my amazing husband as my guest co-host, and then we also have a guest with us, and he's here to talk about men's health. Welcome, Dr. Sebastian Bonilla.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me both.
Yeah, of course.
Well, a little bit about myself. I'm a medical doctor from Ecuador. I came here in 2017 looking to start my residency, but then all of a sudden I 360 degrees and changed it to Chinese medicine and acupuncture.
How did you find that?
Actually, it was while I was in Ecuador, I used to practice CrossFit, and I used to do these workouts, and I got a injury on my shoulder, and I tried the same thing I would tell my patients. You know, like we have a mnemotechnic called RISE, so rest. Yeah, okay, you know, so elevation, compression, and ice. So I tried that 2 weeks, nothing, and I was already scared. Took imaging, nothing was torn, lucky, but still I couldn't move my shoulders as I intended. So I was getting frustrated about like, how am I gonna do my normal routine? And someone just told me, hey, try acupuncture. I'm like, and me coming from a medical background, I'm like, where's the studies, where's this, where's the research, you know? So I went there without hoping much. Went there and be like, okay, yeah, I felt a little bit of twitching. I'm like, okay, that's the muscle. 3 days, I was like, wow, this is different.
Okay.
And then 5 days, I was already lifting. I'm like, this is impossible. But my mind was more into it's already been 2 weeks. The muscle already healed itself. That's what's going on right now. So fast forward, I was already seeing my own patients, my clinic, and I was getting frustrated because every time I was, okay, here, take these pills, call me in 3 days. Patient came again. Hey, doctor, I'm still the same. Take these other medication, call me in 3 days. Doctor, I'm still the same. You know what, here's the number of another doctor, and good luck. So that got me a little bit frustrated, to tell the truth, because I was seeing that everybody, or most doctors, were becoming prescriptionists instead of healers. So that's when I clicked, and I was, okay, I have to do something. And I was coming here to do my residency in pediatrics, actually. So once I came here, I flipped to acupuncture and give it a try. And after that, ever since, I've been doing acupuncture and try to incorporate the Western, let's say the Eastern or Chinese medicine into one. And it's been helpful. It's been different. So right now my focus is more towards, of course, sports medicine, men's health, and pediatrics as well.
Okay, that's awesome. You don't really hear a lot of, well, I guess here in the Western side of things, so they just tell you go to the doctor, and like you said, like you hear about holistic things, and you're kind of like, oh, that's hippie stuff.
Yeah, the black magic stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody believes it because, again, the research and stuff like that. And unfortunately, I would say Chinese medicine is a very science-based medicine. But the fact that it is not as backed up as the Western medicine. Why? Pharmaceuticals and,
That
the
makes
big
sense.
money.
Yeah.
So, of course, when they do a research, they cannot just claim acupuncture or Chinese medicine is the best one for XYZ. Why? Because they don't have that power to generate, or some pharmaceuticals will be like, no, you cannot say that. So it's a little fine line there. So
Okay.
most of the research, if you read it with acupuncture and Chinese medicine, will be more research needs to be done in order to conclude that this is a good prospect for X disease, for example. But acupuncture and Chinese medicine is, if you go to the World Health Organization, it's listed for more than 100 diseases, and most of them autoimmune diseases, not only from the muscle or something around the pain, but as you know, fertility or women issues, men's health, pediatrics, and anything that has to go, be around with the mood or mental health in general. That nowadays is something very big. that
Yeah.
society is facing.
Yeah.
So it's to some extent it's rewarding to see that this medicine is taking this, let's say,
Actually healing.
spotlight. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually that. Of
I love
course,
it.
we treat a lot of things, but we cannot claim like, oh, it will heal you, because we have some patients that we see that are cancer patients,
Okay.
but we cannot claim that will heal you. Of course, we treat them; they feel completely better. Their chemo sessions are not as hard. They are able to have more energy.
Okay.
But then again, we can treat that, but we cannot claim it, of course. But again, making a difference for those patients is very heartwarming and is very rewarding for
Yeah,
me.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was even more, like how you're saying there is now. I wish there was even more of it because, like, I tore my chest and shoulder when I was in high school, and all I was given was Tylenol, ice, and put in a sling. And they were like, "Hey, you're just gonna have to wait 6 months. Let's see how it heals. If it doesn't, because it was a partial tear, if it doesn't heal completely back, we're gonna go in surgically tear it." I was like, "You're out of your mind if you think I'm gonna just not do anything with it. Like, I'm just gonna go 6 months not do anything, then another 6 months. That's a whole year, and it was my junior year, so my whole senior year would have been gone."
Yes, correctly. And that's the, I would say, the fear of everybody, surgery. Or the most thing is of Western medicine is the worst case scenario, which is usually cancer or surgery. So a lot of people avoid going to their doctor because of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
especially men, especially men. So having said that, is good for me as a doctor, trying to inform the patient that it's good for you to take care of your own health.
Yeah, and I love that we're doing this and bringing awareness to this. So for people who don't know about it, they know that there's an alternative way of doing things.
Correct, and it's the natural way.
Yeah.
Because Chinese medicine has been around for 3,000 years, more or less. And back in the day, the main practitioners or doctors, they said that the best medicine is always the preventative one. And the best doctor is going to be the one that prevents the
Yeah.
disease from ever starting.
Right.
That's the best doctor that you can have at that time.
But they don't do that here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually it was the opposite. If you have a doctor that is treating the disease, that was seen as an inferior doctor, because
Oh,
you have to
wow.
deal with the disease and not deal with the wellness of the people. Because
like that.
well people will create well society. So you have both things that will be really good for everybody.
Yeah.
So again, what is wellness? Everybody nowadays, everybody's terming wellness this, wellness that. But some of them, wellness is not only the absence of disease, but is, I would say, is more of a relationship that you have with the environment, with the people, and especially with oneself. So if you're really, let's say, you love yourself, you will have that wellness sensation, and you will feel that you're doing everything you're doing is gonna be for you. And once it's good for you and you love yourself, you can expand that to the rest of the people, which will give you that sensation of like, I feel healthy.
Yeah.
And people will notice it.
Yeah, and that's very important because that's what the podcast is. So we talk about the 7 dimensions of wellness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have social, physical, environmental, occupational, financial, spiritual, emotional.
Wow.
So it's not just physical, there's so much more.
Correct. Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that you see, yeah, and actually that gives you another thing, that it's purpose. With all that said, once you have purpose, the person can be, let's say, as they say, I feel useful.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have purpose, you won't feel useful, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I would say teenagers or people that I see nowadays, they're the typical hoodie down, and they're like this, and I don't know, yeah,
Lost.
whatever. Yeah, it's because they don't have a purpose. Either is video games, just eating junk, not even practicing any sports. They don't have anything to fight for, even if it's let's say a sports or anything at all. So they don't feel the necessity to just step in to do anything.
Yeah.
So that's why they feel so lost sometimes.
That's so important. I posted I shared a post yesterday, and it talked about, it was like a teacher gave each student a balloon, had them put their name on it, threw it out in the hallway, asked them to look for it. Nobody could find their own balloon. So then she's like, pick up a balloon and then give it to the person it belongs to. And then they were able to do it real quick. So like
Wow.
the message behind it was, yes, you know, look for your own happiness and make sure your cup is full, but make sure you're also making time to help others.
Yeah, that's
And
really
that's going to bring
powerful
you
message.
joy.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, with the purpose thing, I found I had heard off of a podcast that there was two old men, right? One of them was like successful, and another one was he maintained a cemetery, and they had like a garden by the cemetery and all that. And this one who was, you know, quote unquote successful and everything was unhappy, and he ended up passing away at a younger age. The one who took care of the garden, they came and they asked him, they're like, hey, you've surpassed like a lot of people around your time. You've lived past them. They're like, what's the secret? He's like, I found my war. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, every day I get up going to war with these rabbits that keep eating from my garden. So he had a purpose in his war. That's what it was. So it kept him going every single day.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's helpful to have that mindset, especially nowadays. I would say I don't know if you're familiar with the stoicism or the mentality of plentiful or just being in control of what you can. Try to
Okay.
control what you can, but don't push it and try to control what you can't. So a lot of people right now are focusing more of what they can't control. And that's when the anxiety, depression, and all these wave of emotions come and overtake your body, and then you start feeling problems with digestion, problems with hormones, problems with this, family, everything, because you're trying to control something you can't. So a lot of the things I tell my patients as soon as we start, especially with men, is, okay, what do you come here for? And a lot of the problems that men face today is, yes, as we age, we'll have more problems with muscle. Why muscle? Because we are this entity that we work, let's say, hard, and we're very logical, and we try to put and push ourselves more and more and more. So as we decline our age, we start to get more like tense. Everything starts to tense up. We don't feel it. We don't see
Oh,
it.
I feel it. I feel
Yeah. So yeah, once you feel it, you'll be like, ooh, my neck is hurting, my low back is hurting. When did my knee start hurting? You start to ask yourself that, and you ask yourself, when did this start? Like you say, 3 months ago, I didn't have this
just
problem.
woke up with it
Yeah,
type
you
thing.
just woke up this. A lot of the men that I see start like that, and most of them they have their work, they have their families, like successful, if you would say, but in their own health, they are not successful. So whenever we start, it's like, okay, what do you come here for? So obviously some of them, oh, my neck hurts. And so for acupuncture, if you know, it's bread and butter. Pain, easy to deal with. But what's beneath the pain? What is the pain telling me about? So is the pain coming from an emotional standpoint, or is it coming from a physiological standpoint? So of course, if you say, hey, I tore my bicep or my chest doing, I don't know, a press of 325, you're like, I mean, of course, what do you expect? You're lifting something that is more than you could. But if you just like, I woke up like this and I've been like this for the past 3 years, so there's something there that we need to look up with. And a lot of the men don't have that, let's say, luxury of having the time to take care of themselves. So when I ask them, okay, what is that you need? Just to be healthy. Okay, what is healthy for you? Just don't have this pain. So they just brushing this little part. So for men's health is important, and I would say everybody. The first thing is, at least if you're gonna come and see your doctor, at least have a previous, I don't know, blood work or something that can help. At least that's a starting point. Even if it was done a couple years ago and you haven't gone for the other years, which is something we'll talk about later, but at least have a starting point.
Okay.
So if I see your blood work and I see, for example, your cholesterol at that point is 200. So I'm like, okay, so if 4 months ago your cholesterol was 200, okay, how's your digestion been? Have you changed something? Have you doing any exercise? So that will tell me if that cholesterol is actually increasing or decreasing by his lifestyle that he's doing right now.
Okay.
And later we can ask like something, okay, I want a blood work now. And we can at least compare and be like, you know, this was done way before you came and see me. this is how you are now.
Okay.
And once you can compare those, be like, see, you're getting healthier. Even if the person is not at that point yet, but they will feel a change.
Okay.
And that's the thing. We are in a society that we want the prime day, everything right now, right
Yeah.
now. And they want that for health as well. They want the health like, oh, I feel sad. I feel anxious. Okay, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And they want it now. But okay, if disease took time to build and be like right here, it took a time to build. Health is gonna be the same. It's gonna start to build as the same, and it's gonna be one brick at a time.
Yeah.
So if you tell me, oh, I've been with this pain or this 10 years, and we're starting right here, don't expect me to just flip and be Harry Potter and be like, all right, that's it. You're really good. No,
Yeah.
so it's funny to see how some men are impatient with that. Because
Absolutely.
because we value our time, we value what we do. So we want to feel good to keep doing the same things that we've been doing at the same pace. But unfortunately, we can't. As we age, these things will be going down with age. And one of those things is hormones as well. So hormones is one thing that we were talking before is every year from a year, 40-year-old, you start as a man, the testosterone will start to drop at least 1%. So either if it's free testosterone or binding testosterone, you will see a decrease in that.
What's the difference?
So the free is just the one that it's there, out there, okay? But the one that is binding to the globulin is another protein in your blood that will take it to different parts of your body. Either it's the muscles, testes, whatever it is. So it's kind of like having your reserve versus having the one that actually acts on it.
Okay.
So, and there's parts for men that will help to increase that testosterone. So one of them, aside from coming to see a doctor or see me, is having a healthy lifestyle. Well, what is a healthy lifestyle? Start to move. Start to move. The more you move, but not only moving, start to lift weights. Lifting weights for men is beneficial for everybody, but for men in particular. Why? Because we are testosterone driven. As I was telling you, we're more linear. Women are more cyclical. So we're more linear. We need that strength. We need to have that. So we need that production of testosterone to be around 24/7. So of course, I'm not going to tell you go and kill yourself lifting weights, but at least have resistance on it. That by itself will give a signal to your brain and be like, oh, I need to release more testosterone because testosterone will go to the muscles. And that will be another signal for them to grow. And of course, there's another type of functions and things that happen when you're exercising that your body signals. But one of them with the hormones is that.
Okay.
So one of those is lifting weights. The other one is the food, because food
So,
is one of those.
I wanted to get into that because you also mentioned by seasons.
Yeah,
So
correct.
Yeah. So with Dr. Sarah, we learned for the women, we eat according to our cycle. But then for the men, you said seasons. Is that as in like the 4 seasons of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
So, of course, I would say, unfortunately, not here in Texas because we don't have the 4 seasons. We only have 2, but we have 2 throughout the day. We have the inclemental weather, rain, and then all of a sudden we have the scorching sun. But it's kind of, I would say, in the first prime, let's say in the springtime, you want something that nourishes, something that starts to lift you up. So anything that can be spicy or something not hot, but something that is warm in nature. So because, for example, spicy is more of a it's not a taste, but it's more like a pain receptor that we have due to the hot sauce or the spiciness that we feel.
Okay.
But the sensation that you feel, the spiciness, or I would say pungent, more than that, more pungent food, like curry, for example.
Okay.
It's more pungent. It's a little bit spicy, but it's more pungent. And the more you eat it, you'll feel like, you start to sweat and you're like, ooh.
Hey. We're talking about general right now. We have to single me out. If I sweat when I eat spicy food, that's between me and you.
And everybody listening.
And that's the thing. So in the spring, we have to, as men, we have to eat those foods because we're trying to gather all the materials to sprout something. What is what we're going to sprout? We're going to sprout our muscles. We're going to sprout our best version of the muscles. Why? Because we have to work them in the summer. So
So what would you recommend people eat, or men eat,
So-
during the spring?
So men is particularly, again, anything that is pungent. The curry, your garlics, your onions, green onions.
We're gonna go grocery shopping after this.
Oh, for sure. And meat is, I would say, is of course, protein. Protein is very important. Is very important for men and women. But for men, I would say the building blocks that we need is different for women. So, for example, for men, the older they get, I try to not give them very specific instructions because, yeah, you're like, I just want to chill. I don't want to do anything complicated. So, for example, what I tell them is like, okay, you have the palm, your fist. That is a portion of whatever you want. It can be protein, carbs, fat, whatever it is, because this is what your body needs, not what your mind needs. This is your body. So if you want another protein, do 2 fists of protein, of whatever it is. But if we go deeper to someone younger, so for example, let's say, how much do you weigh?
Me,
220.
220.
220. So, for example, he tells me I'm 220. Okay, during the day, you're going to eat 220 grams of protein, whatever it is. So why that? Because it's been in research that at least the 1-to-1 ratio for pound per body weight of protein is good. And especially if you're lifting weights, that's kind of like the sweet spot. Yeah, you can go up or you can go below, but that's the sweet spot. And hitting actually those 220 is pretty hard. So I'll put you into context. A breast of chicken, normal chicken breast, is 30 grams.
Okay.
He needs 220. So just do the math how many chicken breasts he would need throughout the day.
24 ounces.
Yeah. So you see, it's very demanding. So that's why I know that as a society, we're not very well nourished or well fed. So coming back to in the season, we need that type of food. So if you mix your protein, let's say in this case, the chicken, with something curry or garlic or green onion, it will help to spring you to give you a little bit more of boost of energy. So you'll feel good.
Okay.
But then when we start to focus more on the summer, we need actually, we need to stop a little bit of that boosting and we need to increase the nourishing ones. So something that is more cooling. So for example, more like the cucumber, watermelon, kiwi, pineapple, foods that actually have like juices in it.
Okay.
So anything that has juice. Why? Because of course in the summer we tend to go out, we run, we cycle, and men are more active. And during the summer, yeah, everybody is more active, but men, we like the summer because we like to be outside. So we tend to lose more, as in Chinese medicine, it's called the yin, the fluids, the essence. So we lose it by sweating. So
Okay.
I don't know, there's a physiological, I wouldn't say problem, but with women, they tend to sweat less. Hormonally, yes, there can be a signal in that, yeah, I sweat my palms, my underarms, I sweat a lot. But men, we can be sitting down and start to sweat. Just, it's because we're like that. We are another nature. We're young. We're fire.
Okay.
Women is yin. So the mix of those both is kind of, we nourish each other.
All right.
So again, in summer, we need that type of food. More nourishing and more fresh and more cold again. When it's more cold, again, the salads, the sushi, something that is in temperature naturally cold.
Okay.
And then as we go towards the fall and winter, we'll need to start getting more warm to hot foods. In this case, for example, black beans, white rice, quinoa, stuff like it starts to warm you up. And again, the ginger is really good, garlic is really good, because if you mix again, it's not only the sprouting, but when you mix it, for example, the flavor of white rice is more bland, but the nature is more warm. And when you mix the warm with the sprouting nature of the garlic, it will make hot. So it will make you feel better.
Okay.
And from a nutritional standpoint, I prefer the white rice. Everybody, but the brown rice is better because it's the glycemic index, blah, blah, blah. But nutritional standpoint, your body will absorb better the white rice.
We like white rice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. White rice is all the way.
Yeah.
So as you go into the winter, you start to leave out, for example, the smoothies, famous smoothies. So nothing cold.
Okay.
Because you want your body to hold on to whatever they can of calories and the warmth for your own organs.
Okay.
So that will help in general. I would say that's a general specific of how we can see the foods. But again, if we can go like deeper, yeah, we can talk about like the foods in this sense, like very profoundly and very deep. But I would say it's not about how you eat, but what you eat. And you will sometimes, I don't know if you ever felt the difference, if you eat something that is cold in a cold day versus something that is cold in a summer day, in a summery day. For example, that's why in every movie you see the typical little boy out in the summer and the mom comes with the watermelon,
Yeah.
the watermelon. Because watermelon in nature is very cold and very nourishing. And of course, now with modern times, we can have watermelon all year round.
Right.
But that's the thing, we don't need to eat watermelon all year round. And
That's so
especially
interesting.
we have to
Yeah.
increase our fiber intake, especially in those months too,
In the
in the winter.
in the winter.
In the winter, because if everything is gonna keep inside, that means that everything is going to stop, let's say, circulating as it used to be, or not as fast, and that includes our intestines.
Okay.
So a little bit of push with the fiber there. For example, kiwi, let's say. If you eat it with the skin, it's a great source of fiber. But you're like, how do I eat with the skin? So what you can do is just cut this thin slices of the kiwi and just eat it with the skin. You won't feel it. It'll taste just like an apple. You won't feel the hairs. I do that. When I start to do that, I'm like, they're like, I didn't feel any hairs. And I start to see a more of an easiness on my bowel movement. It was pretty normal. And I was like surprised about it. And another one that actually has been taking more popularity among my patients, especially my male patients, is the use of potato skin. Whatever potato you want for acid reflux, perfect. Why? Because the starch of that, the skin, and it actually, if you say like a nature, the skin is like the protecting part of the potato, right? So if you drink that, it will serve as a skin or a protective layer to the stomach, that part of the starches.
Okay.
So
you said drink it?
yeah, drink it, not eat it. So what I tell them is, whatever potato you have home or whatever you want to buy, just mussel it, or I have patients that actually put it in a food processor and have the little juice, more or less like a glass shot. Every morning, as soon as you wake up, open your eyes and bottoms up.
What about boiling? Can you do that or no?
No, just like it is.
Okay. Just
like
raw?
Just
Okay.
raw.
Okay.
It won't taste good.
That's
for
like
sure.
some Rocky type stuff. Like just crack
Yeah.
the egg and
Yeah, you will take some earthiness there, but at least after a couple of days, you'll be like, wait a minute, I don't have that bitter sensation when I wake up in my mouth. I don't have that anymore. My indigestion is getting better. I don't have acid reflux. I don't have to take my medication, in this case omeprazole, for the acid reflux anymore. And I've been having good results with that. Most of my patients, most of them are like, hey, yeah, that's working great. I don't want to stop. But there's a point that I want your body to do these things for itself. Because it's, as I tell them, it's like, I help you like a bicycle. I just ride you and then it's, okay, bye-bye. We'll see you. Then you just come for maintenance.
And that's what a doctor should do.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Just maintenance.
Yeah.
Because again, if I get you out of the disease part, I want you to get you back on the wellness or make you feeling healthy to keep on pursuing your purpose. So that's what I want, instead of you focusing all your energy and time towards a disease. So with that said, it's more about also what makes it healthy for a man. And of course, as a man, sex drive and the lifestyle, the sexual lifestyle, is also very, very important. And it's funny to see that nowadays I've had patients in the late 20s, early, mid 30s, having problems with the sex drive or erectile dysfunction, something that, as you know, Juan, for a man is very, very, I would say, embarrassing to talk about, and something that nobody wants to acknowledge it.
Right.
So trying to have that as a man is not easy. So the way to address it is, of course, is like, most of them start as a discomfort in the low back. Be like, hey, I have a low back that started a couple of weeks ago. Did you lift? No, it just started like this. I've been stressed out at work. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I don't sleep well. But I just started with this discomfort in my low back. Then you kind of start to ask this uncomfortable question like, hey, how's your soldier? Is it the rifle good? Are you shooting blanks? How's it going? So most of them are the like, yeah, of course. But until you start asking a little bit more, then you start figuring out that it's not as it should be at the age they are at.
Okay.
So most of them start to, for example, they feel cold hand, cold feet. Their abdomen is cold, and they never notice it until I tell them, okay, put the back part of your hand on your abdomen, and they'll feel that all their abdomen is warm except the lower abdomen. So that's where the lower tien or the gate of fire is for a man.
Okay.
So, of course, something has to give when you're pursuing your purpose or working as hard. You're putting in Chinese medicine, as we call the essence. You're putting that essence, that gene, to that because your brain needs two things: oxygen and glucose. So where's the oxygen coming from? Blood. So, and the glucose from food. So of course, if you are putting more blood towards working and doing things, of course your body's like, okay, if you're not gonna use me, all right, cool. I'm just gonna give it to the brain and be a man of.
This episode was brought to you by BCN Supplements, our all-natural supplement company. First off, we have our hydrolyzed collagen. This is a 4-in-1. It comes with vitamin C for better absorption, hyaluronic acid, and biotin. So this is good for your skin, your hair, your nails, and your joints. And this is for both men and women. Next up, we have our immunity, which is a 7-in-1 vitamin. It has vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, echinacea, elderberry, black pepper, and garlic bulb. So this will give your immune system that extra boost. And lastly, we have our natural pre-workout. It does have 325 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea. It is sweetened with stevia, and its purpose is energy, focus, and endurance. And for our listeners, we do have a discount code. If you visit our website, www.bcnsupps.com, you can use code BUILT, B-U-I-L-T, for 10% off. Thank you so much for listening.
That's like something you don't think about, like, especially in today's culture, right? It's a hustle standard. It's everybody's go, 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 sleep a little bit less, get food on the go, or meal prep company, whatever it is. And you're just like, go, go, go. That's like, I didn't even think that, like, or anything of how major of an effect it could have on the body. Like, I understand the mental stress part of it, right? And like, it's just always, like I said, go, go, go. Especially in today's world, like, I feel like everybody's just, I mean, this is stepping into the next topic, I'm assuming, like, everybody's just like, it's not that standard household, or like they find that they're just with one person, like, monogamous, what is it called?
Monogamy.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't even practice that. They just do like they just go with whoever and stuff like that, right? So that's
a second house in Cleveland, second family,
yeah,
everything. So regarding that, yes, and more than that is how you create your body to tolerate that insult, let's say, because your body can tolerate up to a certain extent. And we can say, like, another example I give my patient is, okay, what do you do when your car you see in the dashboard and you see the gas light on? You go and put some gas.
yeah.
Okay, what happens when you are angry? Nothing, I'm angry and I swallow it. That is a light in your dashboard that you have to do something about. So I tell them, like, okay, the same as you do in the car, our emotion as men, they're lighting for something. There's something wrong with us, something that we're not addressing. And as men, we need to address it. And it can come as anxiety, depression, low sex drive, problems sleeping. It can look like that. But what is the root cause of that? When did it start? After you did what? Or has it coming, has a pattern or something that you can notice that you can change? So things like that, if you start to talk about with a man, you will find it where it's coming from. So I had this patient, for example, he was telling me, like, he came in grabbing his sciatica. He barely can walk. He could walk, and he came in and, like, screaming, I cannot move. Getting him on top of the bed was such a hassle by itself. But of course, treating him, he was able to walk out more, just a slight pain. And of course, I started to ask him, hey, how's everything in your house? Like, well, I have a new job, I've been promoted, but I have my 1-year-old. I want to spend more time with them. But and of course, I ask, how's your sex drive? Oh no, don't even ask. I can't. I just can't.
Oh wow.
And I'm telling you, a guy in his mid-30s.
Wow.
Mid-30s. So again, I start to see this pattern of his bag is always locking up when there's stress. So it's only then. And there's the excuse of this last one. He said like, oh, I was just grabbing my laundry basket. And he starts, and I'm like, a laundry basket? It's not even like
It's a lot of laundry.
yeah, I'm like, okay, how much laundry you can have, man? But apparently just the laundry. And that was what sparked this horrendous pain.
That's crazy. Especially because, like, I say for a man's standpoint, normally it's like, oh, your shoulder hurts, suck it up, keep going, something else
Right.
hurts. And you don't take it like your body's sending you signals. Like, that's, so I feel like that's a huge thing for men, right? That they should listen to their body more.
Yeah. And especially because, as you said, we swallow more of our pride, our egos, our emotions. We don't talk it out, especially with our wives or our partners or friends. If you ask a man or any of your friends, who would you call when you're in the lowest of your lowest? Most of them will tell, I don't have anyone to call, or I won't call anyone. At least you're lucky to have your wife. But
Yeah.
even then, sometimes you'll be like, I don't want to burden her
Yeah.
with anything that I have to do. Because you're like, I want her to be happy. But you're not looking for your happiness. And actually, she's looking for your happiness, but you're like, oh, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm good. But then
That's a, yeah.
you have to change that mentality in order for you to be happy in your own marriage. Because you're providing, which is good. But you're not providing for yourself in sense of self-love. What are you doing? Yeah, you can work out. And a lot of the people here tell me, oh, I work out because that makes me feel better. My mental health is better. My anxiety goes down. It's like, okay, but working out is not the solution if that's the case. It's helping out. But
It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah, correct. It's as I say, it's like opening a window in a house that is burning down. You're just opening a window. So again, with this type of man, is not only good talk about that, but it's also good to, what I tell my patient, hey, seek out help, like professional help. It has nothing wrong to do if you want to talk with somebody, by all means. I have other therapists that can work with. And if you want another man, because I know that there's a thing that as men, we cannot talk. For example, if there's for example, a pretty nurse that comes and gets your vitals and you're like, oh no. And then you're like, your heart palpitating and you're like, oh no, you know?
Yeah.
But if here comes a nurse, a male nurse, you're like, come on, bro, let's do it. Yeah, very chill. So I know that depending who is treating you, you'll feel different as a man, for example. As you as a woman, you have a preference if you want a female or male practitioner to treat you, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same for us. If someone comes and we're like, oh no, okay, it's different.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how men, we just swallow a lot of things.
Yeah.
And again, it takes on your physiological life, hormonal life, and sex drive a lot. And a lot of things like, what can I do to increase my sexual lifestyle? It's like, okay, communicate. You can communicate. Sometimes you don't know what your partner likes. Sometimes you don't know what you like. Have you ever tried to explore what you like? Like, have you ever given yourself a thought of what you like? Not what you see in movies or stuff like that. Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Like, as a man, what do you like? Because as a man, we like, oh, I want my partner to be satisfied in all cases. But you don't think about yourself. And sometimes even we can find ourselves very, very like tense up in that situation. We're kind of like flexing, you know, like we're gonna flex and that stuff. But that's also bad because we're in a situation. Yeah, you're not enjoying. You're not enjoying that part of yourself that you're giving to another person.
Yeah.
Again, that's why we have these two figures, like the whole and the yang and the yin, both meet, they create. So that's why whenever a woman orgasms, she has some, let's say, lubrication for the man to, let's say, replenish what he lost during intercourse, according to Chinese medicine. So that's why you both stay in that area. So one gives the other what they lost.
Okay.
So
Does that also work with energies?
yeah,
Does it transfer energy?
yeah. There's a transfer. I don't know if you ever felt that. Even whenever you go into a room and you see two people there, but you're like, oh, sorry. You feel something in there. You're like, oh, or you just meet somebody and you're like, I don't know that person, but I don't like that person. I don't even, I've never seen that person. I just don't like that person.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we sense energy. And sometimes it has happened to me that we call it the the energy vampires, because they suck everything out of you.
Yeah.
They suck everything. So you go and you treat them. And when I finish, you finish like, oh my God, I feel so heavy. What? And then you look at that person, and yeah, that person just, and of course that person, when they finish, like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And you're here like, oh my God, I feel awful.
Yeah.
And it happens. We're energy.
Yeah.
We're energy. The simple thing as just touching somebody can be the difference. And that's a whole thing here that I've seen in the States, is that doctors in general, they are afraid to touch their patient in a sense of like empathy or sympathy. Like, hey, I'm here for you. It's okay. Or just touch their shoulder, something. And here they just come and like, okay, here's what we're going to do here, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and my nurse will explain to you everything else.
Yeah.
Like the fastest 2 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then you get slapped with a big old bill. You're like, what? Like,
Correct. It's like, okay, so did I get your name, doctor? What was it?
yeah.
So it's crazy to see that nowadays is how everything works here, especially as
Yeah.
you say, the hustle culture, everything go, 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 go. I need to be doing this, more paperwork, more insurance. Blah, blah, blah. So they forget that behind that desk or behind that person is a human. It
Yeah.
has needs, it has feelings.
Yeah.
So that's also what I try to change with when I'm getting to treat men, especially, because it's not like, yeah, man, yeah, just treat me this pain and stuff.
Yeah, I
you
feel
know?
like for guys it's a little harder to talk about, especially like how you're talking about earlier. Like, if they're in a setting with another guy or something, no guy, it's almost demasculating it. I feel like it might be demasculating if somebody's like, oh, like I'm having trouble getting it up, or they had to get on the pill, or this and that. Like, you don't hear anybody talk about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing I would say, or proudly say, that I can talk with my patients, because I tell them like that, like, hey, how's your shoulder going? Is it like giving you a high salute in the morning every time? They're like kind of like, yeah, you know what? It's not being like that for a long time, and it kind of gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Try to get the stigma out of it, instead like, oh wow, you're feeling like that right now, but you're only 38, man. No, I mean, like, oh yeah, if I put myself in their shoes or try to be like, I know what you're talking about, man. It's not the same. And they're like, yeah, man, I know it's not the same like you in your 20s. Yeah, I know, and kind of be on that wavelength at least, and they will open up a little bit more and be like, okay, yeah, what you got? So when they tell me like, okay, give me something. So in order to increase the for example, sex drive, unless everything is already taken care of, everything is okay, and you actually need a little bit boost, what would you need? As a man, there's a couple things. So you need testosterone, as you know, so, and nitric oxide for our soldier to be standing up straight. Because I don't know if you know, the nitric oxide is one of the most potent blood dilators there is. So if we have those two things together, you're unstoppable as a
Where
man.
do you get that from? Because I know of it because of working out and, getting a pump.
Yeah.
But for a man,
Yes.
is that like, does that come from food? Do they take the supplement?
Yes.
How-
So you have a couple things that you can do. For example, you can do it from oysters, for example, or any
He doesn't like them.
or any shellfish that you want.
He doesn't like that.
Shrimp.
Yeah, that
Okay.
can, but don't overdo it, because those are high in sodium as well. So you have to be careful with that, and cholesterol too. But it's not bad that you get, for example, zinc, selenium, and copper. These will help you in general to get your nitric oxide up. The zinc will help with the testosterone to increase it. So that will be like a power combination if you want supplements in that sense. Foods, usually you have your shellfish, and that's mostly where you get it from.
Is a multivitamin enough?
I wouldn't say the multivitamins. Why against the multivitamins? I'm not saying they're not good, but for example, what you need, because a multivitamin is, for example, you have a cake with raisins. okay? And you say vitamin A, B, C, whatever you want. And that's part of, let's say, these little raisins in the cake. When you want to cut the cake, you don't know where is majority of what vitamin. They just compress it, everything there. And they say, there's supposed to be 1,000 milligrams of or 500 milligrams of vitamin C there.
Okay.
That's why they tell you you should take 2 pills twice a day or something like that. And if you actually look at on the back part of every multivitamin, it will be underdosed of what you need. At least 5 or 6 vitamins will be underdosed. So, for example, you need 1,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. Most of them will have 500. They'll tell you take one pill once a day, but you have underdosed. So of course, the rest you'll get it from food. But as we know nowadays, our diet, I would say, our diet in general is not good, and the food that we're getting is not good at all as well.
Yeah.
So again, I prefer if you're gonna supplement, it's gonna be individual. So selenium, zinc, copper by themselves.
Okay.
That's gonna be like, if you ever wanna see them, perfect. The other one that I would say is L-arginine. That one is a really good supplement to have in order to increase that nitric oxide by itself.
Okay.
And you can find that one in your most pre-workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did beetroot in ours. That's
Beetroot,
another one
yeah,
which is
that's
really good.
another one. Exactly. And you probably know about beet. Beet is a good tonifier for blood in Chinese medicine. And for women, is really good.
Okay.
So it tonifies the blood, let's say. So it tonifies, it gives you the blood. And in this case, scientifically proven, it gives you more nitric oxide. And for men, it's really important. So beet juice, perfect. Or eating beet, whatever you want.
Dwight from the,
Yeah.
from the office, Dwight.
Yeah. And pistachios. That's another good source of L-arginine.
Okay.
So if you ever want to have a handful of pistachios,
Yeah, I could eat the whole bag.
man,
Wait,
they're
just
really
too
good.
much.
Yeah, they're really good, but that's a good source. I would say a good handful is a good dose to have every day, or whenever you're feeling low throughout the day. Even you shouldn't be afraid of fats, every type of fats, because here is everybody correct. A lot of the hormones come from cholesterol. So everybody demonized butter. Everybody demonized. Like, oh, I cannot cook with butter because my cholesterol, because of this. No, I'm not telling you to grab the full bar and cook with it. Just grab a little bit and cook with that.
Okay.
Any animal-fed or organic grass-fed butter is really good for women and for men. Is a really good source to improve that physiological response to the hormone production. So again, really good for that. And of course, your omega 3s, your fish, you cannot forget about that. That's really good, even for heart health. So I would say in that sense is really good.
Okay.
What you need as far as supplements. And of course, in Chinese medicine or herbs in general, we have, I don't know if you heard the maca root.
Yeah.
The maca, for men is really good. For women is good, but for men, you can actually feel the difference. You will feel the difference, as in for quantity in your sperm count and the quantity again. So it will be a really good. It's called the Peruvian Viagra. The maca.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Peruvian Viagra. And yeah, I think that's... and we have one in Chinese medicine that is the deer antler. Yeah, we don't get that one here. So, I mean...
Well, that one's like from a supplement standpoint, it's like a lot of people claim to have it, and it was a super thing, like the deer antler. They did deer antler spray. You put it under your tongue, droplets. They put it in everything, but it was diluted. It wasn't really deer antler spray when they put it in a GC. Like you start, I go rabbit hole on that too as well.
Yeah, you actually need to go. I found one here in Houston, the Chinatown. There's a Chinese herbologist there that literally has the deer antler.
Really?
And he shaves it and gives you the powder.
Oh.
Oof, I took it. Oh my God. I felt my head was, everything was on fire. I felt on fire.
Really?
Like, and of course, on fire on both sides. And I was like, this is really good. But of course, in Chinese medicine, when you have that much heat, it just raises everything. So you have to be careful, especially with patients that have hypertension, because it raises more blood. So of
Okay.
course. But yeah, I felt that one. And actually, I had a friend that he was going to Colombia one
Okay.
time. And he was telling me, man, do you have something? I'm like, something for what? He's like, I'm going to Cartagena, I'm going with this girl. I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, no, yeah, everything is okay. And we talk about like how your soldier is and everything. Everything was fine. He's like, no, I want this one of like just this weekend, no going out. It just so I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. Let me try one of those things. Like, all right. So I give him, and he calls me that Saturday. Like the Saturday, like he calls me, bro. I'm like, why are you? Is everything okay? Why are you calling me? What did you give me? I'm like, why? I can't sit down. I'm like, what do you mean sit down? He won't sit down. I cannot do anything. I'm like, just give it a couple of hours. Bro, it's been 3. I'm like, oh no. Like, okay, is everything okay? Like, yeah, but I can't anymore. Like, I'm dust. I don't have anything else in me. I can't anymore. So he was kind of surprised, and I was surprised as well. Of course, he was young, but I didn't expect to be such a powerful effect on him. So we were laughing about it. So of course, next day he was like, "Okay, I'm not taking it anymore." He still has it, but he hasn't taken it anymore.
Okay.
But you can tell
That's
that
so funny.
those little things, these pills actually work. And one of those ingredients was actually deer antler, and yeah, it works. And of course, you give it. I don't give it to every patient. I just give it to this friend because of this situation. But in general, I would use it to see that everything is okay. For example, if this friend of mine had hypertension or something bad with his health, I'll be like, no, bro. Like, actually, no. I prefer you to enjoy it normally.
Yeah, they even say though being on vacation, like how you were talking about earlier, like we get so busy with work and everything, we're stressed out, and you have people who like, because I listened to our podcast and they talk about like people have sex drives or almost like I believe they said, I don't want to quote it because I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like they're like almost not just infertility issues, but just like it's not happening for them because everything's so tight. When they go on vacation, it's like the best sex they've ever had, right? So you're relaxed and you're not worried about life and everything. You're there, you're present, you're in the moment, and
Correct.
you're in that state of mind that you should be. So that's why they call it like the term hotel sex comes in because it's from the hotel and vacation type of thing. So that's what they talk about, like being on vacation. You should be able to experience that in your own home.
Correct. There
So
you go.
that's something that I feel like from that podcast, it was a thing like where they talked about it and you're like, hey, like you don't hear people say that a lot anymore. Like you hear the hotel sex thing, but it's not like, oh, it's all the time or anything.
Correct. And again, if we go back towards it, if you ask your significant other what they think about, what they want, even I would say nowadays a lot of the people have lost, I would say, the etiquette of foreplay. They just want to get over it. Let's do it. Okay, I only have like 20 minutes. Let's do it. And they forget to kind of like experience and explore your partner and what is grinding their gears in that sense. So kind of like take your time. And also sleep is very important. For us men, it's very important. So a lot of men come and say like, I only sleep 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so how do you feel next day? I'm okay. Do you feel rested? Not really. How's your energy? So if you're like that in a whole day, how do you expect to be aroused or you're gonna be when you are with your partner?
Yeah.
So in that sense, at least sleep, if you want to go that, you have to change your sleep schedule. So meaning that if I'm a night owl, for example. My girlfriend, she does go to bed like really early, like 9:30, 10, she's already passed out. For me, it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay here, read something or do something else until like 11, 11:30. That is my time that I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's go. Sometimes I push it out to midnight, but every time, it doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I always wake up at the same time and try to wake up. Even if it's with alarm or no alarm, try to wake up at least at 8:20, at least. So try to give myself that, not that grace period, but I don't want to be like the time that, I'm not going to put any alarm and wake up at noon. That's not normal. That's not how your body is going to be able to do everything every day. So you just have to keep going that clock for yourself. So if you know that you're going to get up, let's say 8:20 every day. So, okay, if I go to sleep at 11, okay, that gives me, give or take a couple of hours. I can just be, I don't know, if you have hobbies or different things, or you just stay out watching TV, which of course is not healthy before you go to bed. But if you have that little thing before you go to bed, you are training your body how to act the next day, because you have this amount of energy saved up from the time you wake up. Because if you don't have this clock that is already organized, everything will be out of whack. Your mood, your sleep, your gut health, everything will be bad. Your bowel movement will be like, oh yeah, I have a bowel movement every 3 days. Every 3 days? Oh yeah, I've had patients that have every 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
And that's normal for them. Since they were 20, I'm like,
What?
that's not normal, sir.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that's not normal. But then again, it's something that you need to change gradually. You cannot just flip a switch and be like, okay, I'm gonna change it right now. You have to flip a switch, or you have to change it gradually. And again, for men's health, it's very important to have your sleep, as well as for women.
Right.
But for men, since again we're very linear, we need to have that linear for everything. So we need to be constant.
Yeah.
We men, we want to be constant. We need that consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in life is consistency. But for men, we need that.
A structure.
Yeah, correct. A structure. For us, we're very simple creatures. If you give us white rice and chicken, perfect, every day.
That's him. Yeah, and I'm
Every
like,
day.
I need variety. I can't
Yeah,
do
there
this.
you go. You see, because you're cyclical.
Yeah.
We men are simplistic. We're very linear. We can, and I can too. Like, if you give me that, perfect. I'm happy. Yeah, throw it here and there a barbecue or something different.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
Just
I don't mind.
change up your sauces or something. Yeah.
Correct. That's fine. But for you, you'll be like, can we get at least a pepper or something? Like
Yeah.
different. So even that change will make something different for the man. So again, sleep is very important. The mood will change, because I would say the mood right now for every man is very like bland. They just like, how are you? Oh, good. How are you feeling? Like that,
Yeah.
They lose that emotion. And I'm trying to make my patients learn. When I ask them, how are you feeling? I'm feeling better. So obviously they don't feel better, obviously, but I think we have in that mindset that whenever anyone asks you, hey, how you doing? I'm good. But are you good? Or are you just saying to be polite? Because it's another thing. Okay, how are you? Doing better. If you, as they say, fake until you make it. If you tell yourself that, if I go one day, hey Juan, how you doing? Feeling better, whatever it is, or doing better. That thing, if you change that mindset,
Yeah.
your brain will be like, yeah, I'm doing better. Yeah, hey, I got this, I got that. Oh yeah, I'm actually feeling better.
Yeah, I was reading about that the other day. It's called A Complaint-Free World. Is the name of the book.
Yeah.
And they talk about that.
True.
Yeah.
So there's another thing about, I don't know if you ever heard of Miyamoto Musashi. He's the author of the book of the Five Rings. So he's one of these other authors in this mindset, what is called the Stoicism.
Okay.
So what you can control it. What you can't, just leave it. So he says more about like, okay, be a master of your own craft. So whatever it is, be a master of it. Because in here, everybody wants to be a master of everything,
Yeah.
right? But you are a master of none. So you, as a man, you have to create that what you are really good for. For example, you're good for podcasting. Perfect. Stay it. Go as deep as you can. So if anybody comes and be like, hey, how do you do? Oh, easy. You do. And there you go. You master your own craft. But if you're mastering different crafts at the same time, you're not going to be able to do anything, and you will be losing your purpose. So as a man, we need that purpose. We need, again, that consistency of us being perfect or being close to a master of what we can. And again, we like to have control. As a man, we like to have control.
Yeah.
Not necessarily of our partner, but out of love, we like to take care of them. So the decision making sometimes that we make as a man, we're like, okay, I don't know, please, baby, let me know when you get home, or let me know when you get there. It's not for control, but it's out of love. We want to know that you are safe, and we want to know that you are how we expect you to go or to be at that state. So again, the mindset for a man is really important. And yeah, nowadays the boss babe and all this, and yeah, the roles are kind of changing in that sense. it's kind of throwing the man a little bit down the drain of his manhood.
Yeah.
And again, I have some patients that, yeah, the let's say the wife or the girlfriend is earning much, much more than that he is. So of course that makes him feel like
Demasculated.
yeah, demasculated, not the man of the house. I cannot provide. Okay, but if that's the case, what can you provide that makes you different from the rest, or that you can help your wife, girlfriend, or whatever it is? What can you do? So, for example, I know that, for example, my girlfriend has her own schedule, or crazy. I know my schedule is a little bit more like I wake up, I took my morning routine, like at 9, I start to get ready, and I go to the clinic. Hers, on the other hand, she has to get up, get quick, and get out the door. By 7, she has to be at the Woodlands because of this and that. So it's more like that, like go, go, go. But what is my, let's say, my job is give me my self-purpose of, okay, this is our home. I'll help our home to be good. Okay, if she's working, she didn't have time to cook, okay, I'll cook for us, I'll do something, and at least we'll have that ready. So, of course, when she come back and I come back, we eat together as a home, and we share each other. And that also builds a good relationship. Because nowadays, a lot of people are losing what a relationship is.
Yeah.
And as a man, as you say, like sometimes days just go by and you're like, what did I do? What are we now? Saturday? What did I do Monday? And you start to lose that because you're
Yeah.
starting to lose yourself in that monotony. So you're in automatic mode. So one day, if you just sit down and talk with your wife, whatever it is, but just give yourself like time to date, time to go out, time to enjoy. Even if you can do it once or twice a week, that will help tremendously, even for relationship stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we were talking about energies and sex earlier, I don't know if you've heard of this. I just heard it the other day. But they were comparing the woman as like the charger and the man as the battery. Have
Yeah?
you heard of that?
No.
No.
Oh, what was it about?
Yeah,
So,
well, it was basically like they were talking like also about monogamy, and they
Mhm.
were like, don't be sleeping around because there's so many bad things that come with it. And then one of the things that they talked about was how you as a woman, he plugs into you, and so you as a woman, so he's a so the man is basically a reflection of the woman he's with. And so they were like, when you as a woman go sleeping around giving that energy to all these men, when you find, like, maybe you find someone you actually like and he plugs into you and, like, you have no charge in you anymore because you already went and gave it all away.
true. Yeah, I can
And-
see that.
yeah.
Totally. And I would say from a man's standpoint, and want to correct me if I'm wrong, but even in intercourse, we exchange energy. For example, yeah, we are more, let's say, more into the flesh than the women, right? But after we finish the intercourse, sometimes we be even know if that woman is the correct, or we want to spend that woman after the intercourse or not. And that is important for a man because
Yeah.
that can tell you, I will protect this woman because this woman makes me feel like home. This woman makes me just stay here. Because again, as you say, like in this culture of just sleeping around, you can just sleep and go. And that's it. And you don't create that connection, as you say, that connection of holding you and trying to see that person. What is that person about? And us as men, after we finish intercourse and we kind of know if after we dated this person, you're like, you know what? I really like this person. I really want to have this person in my life. And it's not because of sleeping around, but as a man, you can tell that this woman will be something else. Regardless of what happens next, it'll be like, you know what? I want to give myself to this woman. So that as a man is different. Yeah, as a woman, completely different because you're kind of like enabling this person to come with you or inside of you or of your soul or something that you hold precious. So it's completely different. For a man, that's why we hold ourselves, everything is on the outside. That's why we're more young, we're more moody, we're irritable. The women is more yin, more nourishing. So
Yeah.
everything is on the inside. So that's why, baby, what's wrong? No, nothing. That's why women kept everything inside, you know? That's why men is like, what? But what's going on, babe? Oh my God, again. So it's
Hey,
just
we're looking forward. Look at the camera. We're looking at the camera.
so that's another relationship of how in Chinese medicine it's seen.
Yeah.
And the more you work towards it, the more you accept that reality that okay, we both complement each other, but we're both different in the same way. It'll be also how everything will be easier. And again, from a man's standpoint, if you have your exercise right, your food right, your sleeping right, your purpose right, everything will be just okay. And you'll be just keeping maintenance. You won't be needing to do anything else.
Yeah.
And again, is like whenever you go to the gym, you have your own routine, you have your own purpose, your own things there to do.
Talking about that, does that the seasons also go into that? Their
Seasons
workouts?
can affect, yes, of course. You're
How?
not gonna go and run out whenever there's a storm, a no storm there.
Okay.
But what you need to do is actually when it's more cold, you need to start running more. I mean, inside. So more like hit, more something that starts to warm you up more.
Okay.
So why avoid for example, heavy lifting? It's not to avoid, but you have to give it less. Why? Because you don't need to be more heavier on those times of, let's say, of cold. Yeah, blood flow will help, but you don't need to be muscular. You don't need to be big. Why? Because if you put it into caloric expenditure, it's gonna be more for your body. So and with the cold, it's even worse. And you need to be eating more, and it's like a cycle of like, oh, I'm feeling bad, so I need to eat more, and then you'll feel it like more like a blob, you know? Even though you're looking big, you're looking good, but you feel heavy.
Yeah, because what is it? For every pound, you burn 50 more calories.
Yeah.
I believe that's the math on it.
Yeah. So again, that's why you have to not focus, but increase more on your aerobic or focus on the HIIT type of training. And of course, in summer, you can actually mix both. Why both? Because when you have more muscle, and with the summer that is more hot, you have more blood flow. With more blood flow, your body will feel lighter, will feel better for everything that you do. That's why the summer we feel the strongest, the happiest, that we're more like that. And on spring, that's when we need to focus more on our lifting. And for a man, it's more about the compound lifting. It's not about like, oh, I'm just gonna grab this and just do a little curl. You need to start doing more of like back squats. You need to start doing like thrusters, something that is very compound.
Okay.
And that will help a lot on testosterone level, blood flow level, and it will encompass of everything that your body needs as a man. So I think that in general, a gym is good, but having those compound lifts will help more a man, having that power of the testosterone behind them as well.
We're out of time, but really, really quickly, we have a list of things that we're going to talk about, and I just get so like into the conversation, and then I just ask questions as like one
please.
pops up. But let's talk a little bit. You said avoid harmful habits such as coffee, alcohol. So
Completely, yeah.
okay, talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so let's say alcohol. Nowadays, they're saying like alcohol, not even before they were saying the American Heart Association was telling you like for men and women, for women, one glass of wine a day was good. For men, 2 and below was good. But nowadays they find that none is good. Why? Because it I wouldn't say help, but it starts to get the brain to generate faster. So everything, your prefrontal cortex, everything starts to age faster. And you start to have your dementia problems earlier on. So the onset of dementia is going to be quicker in your 50s, 60s. And you'll be like, what? He was good like 2 years ago. What's going on?
Yeah.
And I've seen that more people or the parents right now of some of my friends are starting with dementia. And the only thing that they had is alcohol consumption. And now they already did the research. So I'm not going to demonize alcohol like, no, never drink. Okay, like if you go out on a social event, be, I would say, responsible. Drink 1 or 2, perfect, and that's it. But if you are into this wellness and health for your own self, for love to yourself, you're not going to put some, I would say, actual venom, because alcohol transforms into acetaldehyde, which is a total venomous and poisonous thing for your body. We are lucky enough that the liver is the one that transforms that into acetate. And acetate is the thing that gives us energy. That's why it's called the empty calories. So the empty calories come from the acetate. They don't give us any energy production, but it can be used as energy. So until getting to that, the liver has to do a tremendous work. And a lot of good cells die because alcohol doesn't it doesn't just like, oh, I'm going to go to the liver. No, it just goes everywhere. That's why it passes the brain barrier. And some people lose their conscious, lose their memory. It's just a habit because alcohol can be water and fat soluble. So alcohol can go everywhere. So that's why some people are more prone one to another. I don't know if you ever had that friend. They're like, oh, what happened yesterday? Or, oh, I don't know. It's very blurry what I did. It's because of that. So that means that alcohol has a really tough or easy time going through your brain. So that's why we have to be very careful what we drink. So yeah, that's one thing. As coffee goes, is not bad. Yeah, we have the 400 milligrams a day, which is roughly 4 cups a day. But more consumption of coffee will actually increase your also having a risk of developing migraines, well, for some people. And also increases the blood pressure in men. It's found more in men. So we have to be a little bit more careful with coffee, which again is not bad, but we need to learn how to take it. Now it's like, oh, give me a venti of coffee. And
Yeah,
it's
nobody does cup measurements anymore.
Yeah.
They're like a cup. Well, I brought this big ass cup.
Yeah.
Like this is a cup.
My
Or
Yeti.
energy drinks too.
Yeah, and the energy drinks
What
too.
advice do you have for someone who's like on the go, and they're like, I have to take my energy drink, otherwise I can't?
So if you need that energy drink so bad, what you can do is, I would say, have the before night, or buy these little packs of green tea. Green tea is easily, and I would say it has the potential to be as energetic as coffee without the jitters, and also less caffeine. So green tea, if you're gonna go on the go, what you can do, and you have the typical Nespresso machines and stuff, I know there's a button there that is only you press it and only hot water comes. You can just get your water there, be the night before, just put the pack there, pour the water, and go. And that one will sit there. Green tea has really good benefits, especially, for example, for women also. For PCOS, a really good one. It helps with the insulin resistance. So it's a really good thing to have on hand, at least, for the green tea.
Okay. Before we go, is there anything else you would like to add or leave the audience with?
Try to be mindful what you do, and always try to seek help. It's not bad to seek help, whatever it is, whether it's with a holistic nutritionist, acupuncturist, doctor. Just seek help. It's not bad. It's not frowned upon. It's always to be healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
was
inviting
very,
me.
Yeah, and I feel like I learned.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and if you guys like this episode, make sure you subscribe, you like, you share, send it to someone who you think might need it. I know we've been talking about women's health, but men's health is also important. So make sure that y'all are watching both, because we all have men and women in our lives, right? All right, so I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in to Built from the Inside Out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who could benefit from it. Remember to subscribe to our podcast to stay connected. And here's a special treat for our loyal listeners. Use code BUILT at www.bcnsubs.com for a 10% discount on your next order of BCN supplements. Thank you for being part of our supportive community. We're glad you're here, and we hope you'll join us again in the next episode of Built from the Inside Out.